Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you for coming. So nice to see you this morning at Top Drawer. My name's Kirsty, and this is Andy, and we are going to be talking to you all about Instagram Reels. Hands up, anybody who's making Instagram Reels. Yeah. Yes. Great. Okay, so we've got half an hour to whistle through our top tips for using for Instagram Reels. But first of all, we're going to tell you a bit about who we are. So, off you pop.
So, my name is Andy. Wow, turn me down. That's what my husband says to me quite a lot. You need to turn her down a little bit. I run a dahlia farm, and I sort of started my journey working in television. So my background is in TV production. And then when I had kids, I then set up a wedding video company, which unfortunately went into liquidation in 2020. So then I went to my second passion, which is flowers, and I now run a dahlia farm, a pick-your-own farm, and we also supply wholesale cut flowers to weddings and events. And then also I run an Instagram page where I've gotten into Reels, so Reels is my side hustle. But I met Kirsty through Reels, and we started this incredible journey offering consultation and teaching as well.
So my name's Kirsty. I run a business called Rebuildogram, and I'm an Instagram consultant for homes and garden brands. And I started using Reels when they first rolled out in August 2020. Anybody start that early back using Reels? Good, brilliant. So then none of us had a clue what we were doing, but we had a go, and I started making some slightly extraordinary Reels. But I had about 300 followers, which was quite liberating because I didn't really care what I was doing. Anyway, that's how I met Andy, and we went on to start training people on how to use Reels. First one was on a bus in a field in Oxfordshire. And we've now trained people online, in-person workshops, over 1,000 businesses now that we've taught how to use the power of Reels. So the first thing we're going to kick off with is why use Reels. So in terms of content in 2023, we all want to get bang for our buck. We don't want to spend hours on our screens trying to create content for Instagram all day. So Reels reach the most people, and they also hang around for the longest. If I put a post up this morning, does anybody know how long that post might get shown to anybody? Yep. Yes, maybe 3 hours. Up to 24 hours is the longest a post will get shown. If you use a carousel post where you have more than one image, anybody have any ideas how long that gets shown for? So a carousel post will extend your reach to 48 hours, so you get a double whammy. But Reels will keep being shown for up to 6 weeks. So in terms of content, they might take a little bit longer to create, but if you're going to put the time in, then the benefits are really good. So Instagram Reels are now, Instagram has said they're doubling down on video content in 2023. So for all our clients that we're talking to, if you've got a choice of taking a photograph or creating a bit of video content, then everybody should be making video content, okay?
What we've seen in Reels as well is that people are watching them like a television channel. It's another way to consume media, but they don't have the same attention span. So you've got about 1 second to grab people's attention before they then carry on scrolling. And that Explore page has changed a lot in terms of watch time, because you can go onto your Explore page to watch content creators and the Reels that they've made, and you can very quickly, as we are all guilty of, I'm sure, get sucked into the scrolling void, if you like. You just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So you have got a very, very short time to capture people's attention. But in terms of selling as a platform to get people to come to your product to buy, we're finding that people don't naturally go to Instagram because they want to go shopping. They don't think, oh, I need a new bag today. I know, I'll go and have a look on Instagram. That's not what they're doing. But what they might want to do is be entertained or engaged or enlightened in some way by what you're doing with your content. And they become followers, that they eventually become fans, and then ultimately become customers. So it's about thinking how you can position your content, not so that you're constantly selling, this is a new bag that we've got out, this is why you need to buy this, buy that. As consumers, when you go onto Instagram, that's not what you're there for. You're there to be entertained or educated primarily, or inspired. Those are the 3 pillars: entertainment, inspiration, or education. You're not there to buy. So when you're thinking about how to position your products or your ranges that you've got coming out, make sure that you're filtering your content so that you're taking people on the journey, for example, to a product launch, and it's filtered into other content that you're producing other than just buy this all the time.
Brilliant. Okay, and in terms of equipment, lots of people come to us, and the first thing they say is, Do I need a video production crew? I don't have the budget for that. Do I need to go and buy lots of equipment? Do I have to have lots of apps? You don't need any of those things. So we've brought along the bits of equipment that we use for making reels. The first thing is your phone. So we generally say to everybody, invest in the most up-to-date phone that you can, because the quality of the filming has got better and better if you're using an iPhone. So the iPhone 13, this is a 14, but the 13 has a cinematic mode. Has anybody used the cinematic mode on their phone? Right, it's a game changer. It's so good. So invest in the highest quality phone you can. That would be the first step, because Instagram has said that blurry, out of focus, badly lit reels just won't get pushed out on the platform. So first off, your phone.
These are the tools, these are the tripods, the 3 tripods that we both use regularly. This one is one for really, so if you've got product, this is a fantastic bendy arm tripod. I mean, if you put it into Amazon and put bendy arm tripod, this one will come up. But you'll want one with a really long arm reach. And the reason why that is good is that you can position your camera directly over your product and see from the top down, which is obviously a very fashionable way of taking imagery, but it's also great for artistry if you're painting a picture, to have a top-down, flat lay video. So the idea is to try and shift the mentality. And I always say to people, it's just literally a simple toggle on your phone, isn't it? From taking a photo to a video, it's just literally one toggle. So every time you go to take a photo, just stop yourself and think, actually, could I make a video with this? Stick it in your tripod and take a video like that. Then this one is...
I love this one.
This is your fave. Tell us about this one.
So this one has got, again, these are both, I mean, I think that's like 8 quid. This is like
super cheap.
12 quid. This one plugs in, so it's got, I use this a lot for Instagram stories as well. People making Instagram stories, yeah. So this, it just clips onto anything, and it means you've got your hands free, which makes for a much more natural kind of way of broadcasting. So, and you can have a light here that does different. It's a warm light, a cold light. This is really useful, and it plugs in here. And then in terms of the actual fixed tripod, we use this a lot for creating transitions in our reels. So where we want something to, the setup to stay exactly the same, rather than, you know, bribing your children or a friend to hold the phone, then having something like this. This is, I think, about £39. But it's really important because it gets real height. You can...
It's lightweight as well. So yeah. Kirsty carried it on the train, didn't look too self-conscious about doing that.
Turn up everywhere with my tripod. So
but also the benefit of having that, and most tripods that you buy on Amazon or any online retailer will have come with a remote control Bluetooth clicker. Has anyone got one of those? Yeah, they're really handy. You can remotely connect to your phone so that you can either take photos or videos. So that's
yeah, and they're like £1, aren't they?
Oh yeah, super cheap.
And actually, one of the big trends we're seeing in 2023 with Reels is, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but you're seeing a lot of shots of people just at sort of background, documenting what they're doing their day. So whether it's packaging up your products, or it's the creative process, or having a meeting, with just some text coming over the reel, that's a really strong trend for this year. And so having a tripod is a great way of filming that kind of content.
I think the misconception is that video is a really big, scary beast, and that you have to spend a huge amount of money investing in really expensive equipment. I'm married to a cameraman, and he's like, that's so annoying that you can make videos like that with a stupid, cheap Amazon tripod on your phone. But the truth is, it's really, really opened up a whole world of opportunities for people. And I presume if you're into brands and you're into color and you're into, you know, this sort of a retail environment, you're creatives anyway. So the opportunity for people that have that spark of creativity in them is really endless. It's just getting over that sort of fear factor, if you like. Of
yeah, and actually I think one of the things that we see where Reels really don't work with, when big brands are using it, is that it's too corporate. So sometimes when you're scrolling through Reels and you see the kind of Reels that corporates are making, it's like, oh, it just jars a bit. So in some ways, as small businesses, you have an advantage in that you don't have that big budget, and that raw content works much better on Reels.
People don't want to feel like they're watching an advert on Instagram. I don't know about you. As soon as I see something that's really beautiful and glossy, I scroll past it. So there's a trade-off between authenticity when you're posting on Instagram, and it doesn't have to be very long. I've posted an 8-second video day before yesterday that was just one static shot, which told a story about something that was a bit of a disaster in our farm, but that's had over 1 million plays in 48 hours, and that was my biggest ever reel. It took less than a minute to make, and it's just literally me sat on the ground. I'm not talking. I'm not saying anything, but the message was all in the caption. So it's about moving away from trying to make it look like an advert. It's got to be really slick and glossy. It doesn't. It just has to be genuine and authentic.
Okay, another tip is in terms of watch time. So when Reels first came out, they were up to 15 seconds long. Instagram has gradually been extending the life of a Reels, and now you can go up to 90 seconds. We would just suggest approach long Reels with caution. So when the algorithm is looking at your Reel and deciding whether to send it out to more people, one of the key things it looks at is watch time, so whether people are getting to the end of your Reel. So if you're making a Reel that's 90 seconds long and people are only watching the first half of it, it's not going to get shown to many more people. So think about keeping them short and concise, getting the message across, and really think about that first 2 seconds of your Reel, because we're so quick now. I don't know about you, but when I'm on Instagram, when I'm watching Reels, I'm literally, no, yep, I'll watch that one. Those first 2 seconds, maybe even 1 second now. So if you've got something really important, get it out in that first second, or use what we'll call a hook. We'll come onto those, but something that's going to keep your audience watching. Okay?
So there's one really, really easy way that I'm surprised not many more people are doing it to turbo boost your reel, and that's by using trending audio. Does anyone know about trending audio? Some people are nodding, some people are like, what the hell is that? So trending audio is, so basically, if you think of the algorithm, the way I like to think of it is the algorithm is like a computer game. I play Instagram like a computer game. That's how I think of it. And the algorithm determines whether you go on to the next level. It's a Black Mirror situation. It's like a popularity contest. It's terrible. But if you play the game and you do the things that Instagram wants you to do, then you move up to the next level in terms of reaching more followers and therefore getting more engagement. And that will then boost your reels to more people. And the best way to do that, one of the ways to do that, is by using trending audio. So if you go onto your Explore page and when you're watching Reels, if the audio at the bottom left-hand corner has an upward arrow next to it, that shows that audio is being pushed by Instagram. And if you use that audio underneath your Reels are going to be shown to people outside your followers. And that's what you want, because your followers you've already got already, but you want to try and attract more people. Now, the argument is, yeah, but I like this song. I want to use this song. It's annoying that you're always going to hear the same songs going around again and again on Instagram. And that is annoying, yes. And if you like a particular song that you want to put under your video, that's great. But don't then complain when it doesn't get shown to anybody else outside of your audience, because that's not how you play the game of Instagram. So if you're looking for songs that you want to get them at the right point, so people aren't sick to death of them, but they're on the upward trend, and that's like a rocket booster up your reel to then get promotion to people outside your audience.
And when you're looking at those trending audios, have a look at the numbers. If you can click onto the little song, have a go at this after the session, you can see how many reels have been made with that audio. So do you remember that As It Was song by Harry Styles? Like, we heard that everywhere. I was like, I can't hear that anymore. But at the beginning, that audio was really powerful. But if by the time 5 million people have made reels with it, people are actually going to flick away from your reels. So what you're looking for is trending audios that are what we call young, so they're just starting out, okay? And in terms of trends, we see quite a lot of trends coming through. That's how TikTok started. And remember, Instagram is quite like TikTok in terms of reels.
No dancing. You don't have to do dancing.
So lots of people get put off by using Instagram Reels, thinking they have to jump on all the trends that are coming out. As a brand, when we're talking to people, businesses, we're saying just approach those trends with caution. You don't have to do all the pointing and the dancing and all the dance routines, okay? Think about the aesthetic for your brand and what works for you. Okay, the next tip is in terms of showing up. Lots of the kind of small businesses we work with don't have big budgets, and they feel frustrated at that. But what you have that lots of those big brands don't have is your story, your ability to show up and tell a personal story that sounds authentic. So showing up in your reels is a really, really, really good tip. So whether it's if you're sharing some educational tip, if you are maybe you sell beautiful art and you're showing how to curate a gallery wall, at the beginning, show your face if you can. It really helps that connection with your audience so that it isn't just a generic reel that's out there. So think about ways. Andy's particularly good. Go and follow her account, Dahlia Beach, to see how she runs her Instagram Reels. It's really like a sort of reality TV program. You're following her journey on a daily basis, and that connection is so important. And we all want to buy from people, not big brands, right?
One way of turning up on Instagram, if you don't feel comfortable with showing your face in the reels, is we touched on it very briefly in terms of stories. So if you're not used to being in front of the camera and you don't want that on your grid, have a go at posting a story. So a story is something that will only last 24 hours and then it'll go. Have a go at just talking to the camera and walking around your studio or in your shop or in your where you're designing. Talk people through the process. And some people are like, oh, it's so annoying. I've only had 200 people watch that story. But what if 200 people came into your studio and were like looking at you drawing, or were you talking about how you're making your necklaces, or how you design your cards, where you get your inspiration from? It comes with practice, and that's something that I've definitely found through running my account, is that in Reels, I try and tell the story, and then I'm pushing people to go to my story to then see the behind the scenes. People are so interested in behind the scenes, aren't they? They want to see how something's made. They want to see the bits that don't look so glamorous, and that doesn't have to be well lit or beautifully styled. That's raw. So that's a really nice way of connecting with people through stories. But I use voiceover quite a lot if I want to tell a story in my reel. So if you're not comfortable about being in front of the camera, you can edit a video together, and then in Instagram you can record voiceover over the top. Now the benefit of doing that is that you can have it scripted and already written down. So you can just read it over the top of your reel. And that is a really, really powerful way of showing up on Instagram, because people get to hear your voice. And they get to hear how passionate you are about it. Even if you aren't confident about speaking directly to camera, you can build up to that. But voiceover, you can script it, you can make sure you're happy with it, you can rehearse it, make sure it fits over the length of the video that you've edited, and then just a simple record button on Instagram will record your voice over the top of the video. So I definitely recommend having a go at voiceover reels.
So one of the greatest tips in terms of getting reach on your reels, you know that point where you post your reel and you sit and wait to see how many views it's going to get in that first hour, and you can really get a feel for how that reel's doing, is using what we call hooks. So there can be two types of hooks. One can be a text-based hook. So it could be the biggest mistake I've ever made. 3 reasons to buy this, whatever it is. One thing I never knew before. Did you ever wonder why? Those kind of, think about them like a headline writer would, or that kind of clickbait kind of captions you have when you're scrolling through on the internet. So text-based hooks work really well, and what it means is that people feel unable to scroll away from your reel. The hardest thing on Reels is getting people to stay to watch the end and then come to your account and follow you. So using those kind of hooks, think about using text that comes and goes through the reel. So don't reveal everything in the front go. 3 reasons to buy these dahlias, and the text will come and go throughout the reel, so you're getting people to the end of your reel. The other way to use a hook is what we call a transition. Anybody know what transitions are? No? Okay, so transitions...
I apologize for people that don't like them. I feel like I have to put a disclaimer out there that I really like transitions. So transitions are where the scene changes seamlessly without, and it looks like there's some magic that has happened. So, for example, you've seen where people click their fingers, you suddenly appear somewhere, or the background has changed, or you've done a room refurb. They are honestly, I know people are like, well, maybe people who likes a transition. Yay! Oh no, not that many people.
I have to turn them.
In terms of just that you don't have to jump around and change your clothes or do any of that. It's the magic of trying to entertain people, isn't it? If you see something like that, even if you don't like it yourself, you do end up watching it because you're like, how the bloody hell did they do that? That is quite clever, isn't it? I'm going to like that, even if I don't really like it. So room transitions or putting your camera to black, that is my number 1 tip if you're going to have a go at making a transition. If I filmed this room now, the pan of people, in fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to make a reel right now. So if I were to film here, which I'm going to do, so I'm going to do a pan across the room like this, and then I'm going to go to black. And then, when it's empty, later, I'm going to do a pan of it with no one there. And then what will happen, when you edit the 2 clips together, you put the first clip of you all there, then it goes to black. I'll start my empty frame with it against my skirt, and I'll come up. and I'll do a pan. And it looks like then I've just made you disappear. I'll pan across the room, it'll go to black, and then it'll come straight up and there'll be nobody there. And that is obviously just a silly one that you wouldn't use for anything. But can you see how the possibilities, if you're designing a product or you've got something that you want to, you're knitting hats, for example. Let's say you make bespoke hats. If you could take your knitting needles and tap a ball of wool that would then magically turn into one of your hats, that's going to be much more engaging to watch than here's a photo of my hat, please buy it. Do you agree? Yeah? So it doesn't have to be people changing clothes, which I quite like. But it can be product-based as well, obviously.
Yeah. So transitions and hooks are really, really important. And the final thing is be really generous with your reels in terms of the information that you've got. Teaching something, sharing something educational. I wonder whether we pick an account, somebody out here, tell us what you do, and we'll see if we can come up with some ideas for educational reels that you could make. Is anyone feeling brave?
Candles. Great.
Okay.
So what could you divulge to people that would be educational, you think?
So I make them by hand at home. That's the first thing. They are vegetable wax, so they're vegan friendly. All of the labels on the front are hand painted by my friend Hannah, and they are of scenes from Canada. So the story is a lot about the Rocky Mountains and stuff like that.
Great. What's your account so we can all go and follow you?
It's Smith Co. Goods.
Okay, Smith Co. Goods. Okay.
Okay, so let's have a think, some ideas for reels that you could make. So, for example, an educational reel might be teaching people 3 ways to look after their candles. It could be 3 ways to style your candles. It could be, you could take people behind the scenes on the creative process. So that's taking people in and showing them the journey. I would be making reels about your business, where you started, what the inspiration for it was. Your lovely friend that's doing the illustrations, a reel about how she's doing that. I would do a lovely reel about getting them all packed up and sending them off to your customers. You could do some with some testimonials and feedback. So can you see that by thinking of lots of different ways behind the scenes, you can share value to your... And if I was going through and I was like, I'm awful with my candles, right? They always sort of, I don't know whether I'm lighting them wrong or what I'm doing.
You get a bit dusty.
Exactly. So I would love something that was telling me how I should be looking after my candles better. Then I'm going to save and share that kind of content. And remember, that's really positive signals to the algorithm. Should we do one more? Has anybody else got an account that would like to have some... Yes, over here?
We make habitat products for wildlife.
Oh, wonderful.
Bee houses and bird feeders and bird houses.
I love that. That's my thing.
Nice.
Oh, so I would be one of your customers because I love hedgehogs and I love birdhouses.
Do you hedgehog things?
I need to come and speak to you because I need a new hedgehog house. So I'm always interested about how to encourage more wildlife into my garden. So I would definitely be interested in a real top 3 tips that you need to do in January to make sure that your wildlife is being looked after. So I know sort of, refill your bird feeders, but what are the other 3? What is going to make my garden more attractive to wildlife? What can I do as a, and the things about, like, for example, for bonfire night, I saw quite a few charities as well, making sure that before you light the pyre, for example, make sure you check that there aren't any hedgehogs and things in there. So it's seasonal, isn't it, with what you're doing as well?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, I would be really interested why this product? Where's it come from? Are you doing reels that are telling your business journey and your story?
We could definitely do more.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I'd be quite interested if you do have a regular animal that comes into your garden. There's a lady that I follow who's got set up an infrared camera, and she's sort of done like her own mini sort of country file live kind of. But I watch it every day. It's like the badger comes in at night. I'm like totally dorking out on wildlife stuff now, and people here are like, I'm all about the retail. But just ways, and you could put that into stories and have characters that come through in your reels. But I do think education is really massively. One of the things that gets the most amount of saves on my account, for example, as I'm a flower grower, a flower farmer, and I teach people how to grow dahlias. And the content that I make that is educational gets by far the most amount of likes and shares. And I always put a call to action. Really? This is how you lift and store your dahlia tubers over the winter. Don't forget to save this to come back to it later. And then whenever you give a call to action telling people what they need to do, invariably they do it, even if you don't tell them and just expect them to do it themselves, they don't. But I think some people are a little bit protective about giving away too much. You know, the competition might see and they might copy you. But actually, by what you're doing, by giving away a little bit of information, is you're showing yourself to be kind, you're establishing yourself as an expert, you're complying, if you like, with that sense of community that Instagram wants to promote and flourish. So by doing that, you build an emotional connection where people feel quite grateful. They're like, oh, that's really nice. It's not a monetary exchange. It's much more powerful than that. So when I tell people about how to protect their dahlias from the slugs, and then they go and put their beer traps out, and the next day they come back and they're like, yes, I've caught all the slugs. Yay, I love Andy. And I'm like, great, would you want to buy one of my dahlias? They're like, yeah, all right. I'll buy a box off you because you've saved my dahlias from the slugs. And that's how you build that community. It's not a shopping platform. It's definitely a way of creating a connection to people that then become followers and ultimately become fans and then customers. And that's something that's helped my business get to where it is in quite a short space of time.
Right, we've got a bit of extra time, so we're going to do
3 minutes.
No, we've got.
Questions.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh wow, we've been able to run over.
We're going to have extra
that
time
good.
for questions. So if anybody's got any, and Abby's got,
I've got the microphone.
Oh, it's right over there.
Oh, yeah, a couple.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, hi, I'm a ceramic artist.
Hi.
And I actually want to pick up on that point that you talk about giving away your techniques. What I find that I get in the loop where more and more other potters follow me rather than potential target audience that I want to reach. So Instagram kind of thinks that my contact is more relevant to other makers rather than potential galleries and buyers that I want to reach. So how do you balance that out, basically?
Should I start on that one? So one of the underlying things for everybody when you're thinking about creating any kind of content, post, a reel, anything, is the pain points of your customers. Do you know what I mean by that? So what your customers are wrestling. I don't know what kind of ceramics you make. And so your ideal customer is us, or is it collectors? Okay, so what I'm guessing by the kind of content you're creating, you're appealing to slightly the wrong audience. Your content is probably appealing to other people that are making your stuff. So maybe you're sharing too much of that educational content, and maybe you're not sharing the value of what your range and how to buy from you and your journey and your inspiration. So it's really thinking, what are the pain points that my customers are, and the rest of the world doesn't matter. Those are the people that you're focusing on.
Also, don't forget as well, sorry to interrupt, but if you're also following a lot of people that are doing ceramics, and you're liking a lot of their stuff, that's what the algorithm is going to show you. So if you don't want to receive that anymore, because I think you can almost get into an echo chamber where you're just only seeing, so I know for Kirsty, you said when you just get supplied loads of content from social media.
And I actively unfollow it. You can go on and press, I'm not interested in this content, because it's so hard to be original when you're following so many of your competitors. Yeah. So
I would take your competitors off your grid and start following people who you think would be your buyers. Big stately homes, art galleries, follow them, engage with them, and the algorithm will start thinking, oh, right, okay, this content isn't meant for the people that are making it, it's meant for those people. So you're ultimately in charge by everyone that you're clicking and sharing. So my husband's like, why do I keep getting shown women in Lycra running? I was like, funny you should say that, Jonathan. What have you been looking up then? Women running in Lycra. Okay, just don't like that stuff then, and it won't show it to you. Bloody hell. Okay, next.
Hi, so I'm here with At Tracker Designs, and we sell mostly candles and homeware, but the struggle with our reels is that we don't really see those turn into followers. So any of our reels that do get quite popular, so we've done similar things that you suggested, like we use one of our scarves and how to style your hair with it, how to style it alongside your outfit, but we've struggled to turn those views, likes, and comments into followers who will keep engaging. So have you got any advice on how to turn those into followers or keep them with us?
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're looking at how many views or how many plays your video gets. That's all very well. You might go viral on a video, but it actually doesn't mean anything, like you said, if people then aren't coming onto your grid to follow you. So when you're looking at your grid, are people, when they're there, is it clear what you're doing? Is there clear calls to action? Are there clear, have you got your bio sorted so it's very, very clear about what you're selling, how to buy it? I just think people are quite selfish with how they consume it, aren't they?
And one thing I would say is that, again, we've got clients that have come to us and they've said, I've had 1 million views on my reel, but I haven't sold anything. So what you've got to do, imagine when you're scrolling on Instagram, it's really easy just to keep scrolling. And what you might find is that's what your audience is doing. The really, really fine trick on Reels is to get people to stop scrolling and come to your grid, okay? And the different ways to do that. So having a call to action within your Reel that says, here are 3 tips for how to style this product. You put 2 of them in the front of the Reel and you go, come to the caption for the 3rd one. So immediately they've had to come to the caption and stop scrolling, okay? So that's a really first tip. And the second thing is, once you've got people, your grid, Reels aren't the answer to everything. I wish they were, but they're not. Your grid has to do your work for you so that when people come to your grid, they go, oh my God, this is so much other good content on here that I'm going to follow. And then you're on the process to getting them to buy from you. So Reels are literally like a fishing reel out into the ether, okay, to attract people back to your grid, okay? So then that's when that grid has to convert. And what we see quite often is people don't put covers on their Reels. So when people come back to your grid, if it says there's a cover on the Reel that says 3 ways to, or the biggest mistake I ever made, you're going to drive repeat views on those Reels that you've already made, okay? So try those 2 tips and see if that helps, okay?
Yeah, there's a lady at the back over there. You've got a microphone coming to you.
Cheers. This might sound like a really daft question, but it's driving me insane. So we have a business account. And so these trending songs are trending audio, but because it's a business account, we have less choice of what music. And I thought I'd sorted it out when you could save audio from another account, like another reel, but they've stopped doing that.
Firstly, that is not a daft question. That is a really, really good question. I'm sure there's a lot of businesses that have set up business accounts. They're like, why haven't I got Beyonce?
Yeah. So we can do this for you right now if you want. So you need to open up your Instagram account. If anybody else has got a business account and they're wrestling with the fact they've just got really rubbish lift music.
And for the record, if you're putting rubbish lift music on your Reels, they're not going to get shown to anybody. Sorry.
So if you go to your homepage of your account, so you've got your home screen up, and I want you to go to the Edit Profile button. Okay? We got that nice lady. Glasses, yeah, glasses are good. So for anybody that's already on it, once you get to your Edit Profile page, you will scroll down and you can see there's a section called Category. Anybody find that? Okay, and if you click on Category, you've probably got whatever you are, an artist or a retailer, whatever you are. You want to click on Entrepreneur, okay? And press Save and Done. Okay, has the nice lady in the green jumper managed that? Okay, now the way you can then check is if you go into the plus button to make a reel, okay, and we can check whether, and we always test with Taylor Swift because we all need Taylor Swift in our lives, right? So if you click onto the music button at the top, and if you put in Taylor Swift and it comes up, then the world has changed. You now have access to the whole music library. Yes,
Yay!
Brilliant. Okay, so.
You're welcome.
So I hope that helps for anybody else that's got any questions on music.
There's another lady here who's got a question.
There we go.
Oh, hi. It's not on music, and this really might seem very basic. I'm just really trying to find my feet on things. I post on Facebook and Instagram using the Meta Business.
Yep.
Should I be doing that? Is that?
You do that.
Yeah, is that a good way to do it?
Yes, it's fine. If you need to schedule, then using the native tool. In fact, Instagram has just rolling out the ability to schedule in Instagram last week. Quite exciting.
I obviously know Facebook a bit better, but I am very new to Instagram.
Okay.
So one question was about the video that you said do video, let's say, of a plate. Why would you do a video of a plate and not a photo?
So Instagram originally started as a photo sharing app where you could just add filters to photos to make them look more professional. But when TikToks came out, it was mainly TikTok that did it, there became a very subtle shift away from photos to preferring video. So now Instagram have gone as far as to say, I mean, they did sort of change their mind a little bit after
Kylie Jenner got
Kylie Jenner
controversy.
was a bit pissed off about it. But they are now, the data shows that people aren't interested in photos as much as there's some people that would love to just share photos and they regret that it's now become a video sharing app. It's mainly video. So photos, if you're trying to share a photo and you're a relatively small account, it won't get even shown to your followers because they don't want to promote photos. They want video content.
So even though it's a plate and it's not doing anything?
Yeah, nothing.
Right.
In fact, follow Little London Whispers. Does anyone follow Little London Whispers? She's a really big influencer, and she was quite resistant in the photo, in everything becoming a photo, in everything becoming a video, because she used to share beautiful photos of London and all the top places to go, all the secret places you wouldn't necessarily know to go to. But what she's now started doing, she's like, do you know what? I'm just going to get on board with this. And so what she's doing now is she's just recording an 8-second video. When she would have otherwise taken a photograph of the street, she's taking an 8-second video and putting trending audio underneath. And it's actually way more interesting to watch because people are moving. There's a bus that goes past. There's a bird flies through. There's a light in the corner that's flickering. It's more interesting to watch, even if it's a plate.
Yeah.
Even if you just had a plate and you brought the plate in and then you lit a candle.
Right.
That it wouldn't just be a plain video with absolutely nothing happening in it at all necessarily.
There has to be some sort of atmosphere to it.
Even a tiny bit of movement in it.
Yeah.
So my other question, so on Facebook, I'm using Vimeo to create a video. Is that a different video to Reels video?
So I would, just from my personal experience, I make 2 reels a day, every day. And I do that in Instagram. And the reason for that is that it's very difficult to schedule video from other platforms. And it's not even, Instagram isn't an editing platform. It isn't an editing app. It's a social media app. So when you're making a video for Instagram, I would make it within Instagram and then save it to your camera roll and then share it to your other platforms. Only because whenever I've done ones where I've got all the text all lined up with the beat of the song and it's all coming in all whizzy. And I've seen it, even saving it to my drafts folder to post after I put the kids to bed, when I come back to it, it's all gone out of sync. So it's very, very temperamental. And one word of advice is I would never delete a reel once you've posted it. So once you've posted it and you've effed it up, you just got to go and pour yourself a big glass of wine, have a bath, whatever you do to need to get it out of your system, go for a run, whatever, and then move on and start again and do another one. Because when you start, when you're posting a reel and then deleting it straight away, it looks a bit suspicious. Instagram's like, why are they doing that? Just leave it and walk away from it. But I would always, my word of advice from a content creator is always make the reel in Instagram, save it to your camera roll if you want to share it somewhere else. But we've had a couple of our members, haven't we, saying they've used the scheduling tools and it's left off a bit of text, or it's changed the position of the music when you go to schedule it.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.